What is up, everybody? We're going to try something new. I got this fuel tank sanded here. We're going to try doing some live polishing here. Then we can't get anybody saying that this was edited, blah, 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 none of that good stuff. As you can see, it's full sanded. This is just going to be a polishing tutorial, how to properly polish it. As you can see, I started already. It's mirror finish over here. I try to hide my overlap spots underneath where the straps are going to be. So I do know where the straps are. I know where they're going to be as well. So with that said, I'll let you in a little bit. What we have is I'm using an orange buff with a brown compound. And then I'm going to use a green buff. We're testing out a new buff. The green buff is it's very comparative to the yellow buff. We're also testing a green compound. I've been getting really good results with that green compound. Also, since this is a live video, I know we're probably going to have some comments on this video. I probably won't answer any of those comments until the very end, maybe close to the end anyways, because I'm going to try to stay focused on this. And after each section, I'll try to break it down for you what exactly I'm doing and why I'm doing it. But I hope that you guys can see this, and I hope this all makes sense. We've done some polishing videos, as you've seen, a lot of them. We also have other how to polish tank videos. I'm going to redo the how to polish a tank on the truck video, so you'll be able to see that one as well. Sorry for the noise in the background. Ty's doing stuff as well here, so shop's still running even though we're messing around out here. But I'm going to try to stand here and see if I can get in a good spot so you guys can still see what we're doing while I'm cutting. And let's see what we got here. We got a bunch of people here already. A lot of people chatting. If you don't mind clicking that subscribe button, that'd be awesome. We want to get to that 10,000 subscribers. So stay tuned here. Let's watch. See what we got. Of course, put my respirator on first because we want to be able to be safe as possible. Brown compound, orange buff. All right, so if you've watched a bunch of our videos, you saw me go pretty fast, and I laid a bunch of compound on. I also split this middle section into two pieces. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put more compound on my buff, and I'm going to span this middle section where it's going to be here and the strap's going to be here. I already second cut this part over here, but now I'm going to cut this part here a second time. Even though I sanded really well, you can still see a couple light little pigtails in a couple spots where the compound dried out a little bit. So I always come back and cut it a second time just to make sure that I'm gapping all the way across. The reason I break up this middle section into 2 sections is I like to make sure that my compound stays wet. Anytime my compound starts to dry out, I'm not really covering all that well and it's not cutting all that well. If I go from here, like let's say you were polishing all the way across the tank. If I put compound on my buff and I start here and I go all the way to that side, I'm going to have more compound on this side than I do on this side. This side will be drier than it is on this side. So I break this up into 2 sections. I usually put compound on and I'll start, and when I see it start drying out a little bit, I'll stop. So wherever it starts drying out, I stop so that I can work it back and forth and make sure that I keep filling it all the way in. And then as it dries out, I stop, reapply, and keep going. And I'm not necessarily just watching the black line. I'm also going off of how the buffer feels in my hand. And I'm also going off of what I see and how hard it's cutting. If it starts to dry out, the buffer usually tugs a little harder in your hand and it doesn't slide as easy. For the people that come into our class, I try to explain that polishing properly should feel like a warm knife going through cold butter. If you set a warm knife on cold butter, at first it doesn't do a whole lot. It just kind of sits there. But as the butter starts to melt, it goes through a lot easier. Metal polishing should be a lot of the same way. So what I'm going to do now is you're going to see me put more compound back on. Start at the bottom here. I finish coloring from here down. So what I do is I'm going to start here and work my way back up, and I'm going to work that whole section. Minnesota Picker says, smash that like button. Absolutely, dude. I appreciate that. Thanks for hitting that like button. We're going to try to make these live videos a little more common and hopefully get some people engaged in watching these things. So I'm going to strap back up with my full face respirator. Of course, available on GoShineOn.com/shop. And let's give it another go. Hit that second pass, and then once we get through this, we'll start coloring. Capina Leo says, thanks for the tips. You got it. Appreciate it. Still with the brown compound and the orange pad. Now, as you saw, I used a whole lot less compound that pass. I laid a whole bunch of compound down on the first pass, so I didn't need a whole lot on the second pass. Second pass, I definitely used a lot less because there was still some there. The buff was going to pick up whatever was left. I wanted to thin out my compound. I don't like using mineral spirits and cleaning in between steps. So I usually do this second step to kind of thin out my compound so that when I go to color, I don't have a whole ton of cross-contamination. Hey, Ty, when you get a chance, can you grab me a rake, buddy? I don't know if you can hear me or not. But I'm going to finish cutting this section here so I can get onto the color and so you guys can see that. So that the video doesn't get too crazy long, but let's get after it. Okay, so I don't know how many of you caught that, but I outlined my edge, and I also cut from the left side of the tank to the right side of the tank. Now, when you watch me color, I'm going to color from the right side back to the left. There's not a whole lot of rhyme or reason to that. It's just a personal preference. Um, and on this tank here, I'm only going to show you a quick color. I'm not going to show you guys all the way to the finish. This is going to be a crazy show tank. And to show you the finish would be, this video would be an hour and a half long. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to show you guys my color stage here quick before the finish stage. And like I said, the finish stage you won't get to see. But if you follow my Instagram, Metal Polisher 3826, you've seen the picture of the first tank that we did, cut and color. We still got to do the finish stage on that one, but you'll see on the next one. He says we got time. I wish we could start putting up hour-long videos. That'd be great, but nobody'd watch that stuff. So maybe someday we'll get close to hour-long videos and everybody be all right with it. But let's color this thing out. A lot of you guys are going to see the color and go, what else more do we need? So let's just bang this thing out real quick. Like I said, I'm going to be using a green buff in this video just because we're testing it. But it's essentially a yellow buff. We're just testing out different types of fabric to see if we can find some better results. Currently, I'm actually getting better results with the green compound that we're testing. That green compound is something new. It's a really cool compound, and we're getting some of our stuff when we're using yellow buffs to do it without hash marks, and I've been pretty impressed with that. So let's see what it does with the green pad here, and see what it finishes out as. And yeah, somebody just chimed in that need to come take our class. A larger number that would watch than you think. My YouTube analytics says different. Our YouTube analytics says that most people are only watching for 4 to 5 minutes at a time. Even our longer good videos are only getting 4 to 5 minutes of watch time at a time. So yeah, we'll see. I'll make this video a little longer so you guys can watch a full color on this section here. And then once we get done with this whole section, I'll shut it off so that it doesn't drag out too much. But maybe we'll do a video later on how to do that stuff. Nick says, great work as always, Evan. Wish I could polish, but it's negative 22 here today. It's actually pretty cold outside here too. It's like 0. So we're inside, temperature controlled at 65 right now. I leave my shop at 55 overnight, but I turn it up to 65 during the day. I find that the metal polish is a lot easier at that temperature for us. So here we go. Like I said, I'm gonna grab that green pad. It's very comparable to the yellow pad. The green compound's a little different. We're trying something new, so hopefully we don't screw it up because it's live, so can't edit it, which we don't usually edit most of ours anyways, but I'd watch an hour-long video. I want to learn as much as I can. Great work, brother. Thank you. Appreciate that. Here's a new one, green pad. So I don't know how many people were paying attention to that, but on the color, I don't outline my work. I like to just cover it one time if possible. As you can see, the clarity is way clearer here than that line right here. In the video, it doesn't look as great as it does here in person. Let me zoom in a little bit here and see if I can't get you guys a little bit closer to see that clarity. But that clarity is crazy right now. If you were to look at it over here, I mean, you can see that it's just cut stage here. But as soon as you get over here, that clarity is just absolutely crazy. But I don't know how many of you guys can actually see that. Oh, got a whole ton of comments here. Juan says, how often do I change the filters on my respirator? I change the actual filter once a year, but the pre-filters, I change those. I change those once every other month. Wow, thank you everybody for hitting that like button. That's crazy. I can't believe how many people are liking and watching this video right now. Yeah, as you saw, the clarity here is way better than it is over here. Simply because this is cut stage. Cut stage from, I think you can see it on the video right now, like right there. That cut stage this way is just an excess of friction. The fabric is a lot of friction. Friction plus the compound makes for a world of difference. So for the people that think you have to use a white buff, as you saw when I zoomed in close, a lot of this is just the LED lights in my shop. LED makes it look way worse than it does. If you actually roll this thing outside, it looks really clear right now. Most people wouldn't even want to use a finish bar. I will on this one because it's going on a show truck and the guy is rebuilding this truck, and it's a absolutely crazy rig that he's building. So we'll do a final finish on this one, but most of the stuff that comes in and out of my shop, this is good enough, especially if it's just a work truck and the guy just wants to look nice. This is a very efficient way for them to save money. The show polishing part, like I said, the part that would be over an hour-long video, that part gets really expensive. It costs me a ton of materials and it costs me a ton of time. As you can see right now, this process went really fast. And I know a lot of people, when they come through the shop, they're really surprised by how fast I move my buff left to right. And not a lot of people understand that, you can get it done relatively quickly if you know what you're doing. Yes, I had this sanded properly and it was prepped really well because I did all the sanding myself and I knew right where I wanted it. But the cut and color shouldn't take long if you've prepped it properly. Like I said in my post on Instagram today, of course, Metal Polisher 3826, I only prepped this thing with 400 grit, and I did a slice cut of left side and right side. Left side was sanded, not properly, but sanded, and the right side was sanded properly. Now, like I said, that's only 400 grit, and I'm cutting out 400 grit with the orange and brown. I get messages in my inbox from people that are cutting with orange and brown or yellow and brown, and they sanded out the 2000 grit, and it still does not look great. It's because they didn't sand it properly. A lot of guys just move really fast with the sander, or they move side to side, or they get up on edges and stuff, and it's just not working for them. You got to take your time with the sanding and do it right. Prep is absolutely key. How long does it take you to finish to show quality? Sean Graham says, a tank of this size, from start to finish, from sanding to show quality, takes me about 10 hours per tank. Yeah, I want to say yesterday I spent a better portion of 3 hours sanding this thing to get it to where I was happy with it. And now cutting today, the cut is going to take me maybe an hour max. The color is going to take me maybe an hour max. And then the show finish will take another 2 hours. So I'd probably say close to 10 hours per tank. That other tank that I did the other day probably had about 10 hours in it. But let me see. I'll show you the end caps on this thing. Just crazy clarity. I mean, you can see me clear as day over there. And the clarity is just absolutely nuts. I mean, you can count every wrinkle in my knuckle there. I mean, it's just crazy. This tank's getting there. It's getting close. I mean, there you can see it a little better now. That's just color. But to get it to that level, just takes a ton of time. I mean, you got to sit and work it in. You got to step your buffs down. You got to get continually softer with your cut and your compounds. I mean, it's just got to be, everything has to perfectly align to get it to where I'm comfortable anyways. We actually got some cool videos coming out. We tested some new product with a couple companies, and you're going to see some pretty cool results. Definitely a lot of cool new stuff coming. But I'm going to get back to coloring again here so you guys can watch it again. And if you're watching, smash that like button so we get pushed up in the algorithm. Help us out a little bit. Recommend it to some friends, something. There it is. Simple as that. It came out super clear. I'll switch the camera angle around here in a second and let you see it. But like I said, I tried to hide my overlap lines right where I knew the tank straps were going to be. If this was on the truck, I would just go strap to strap. I wouldn't seam it in the middle at all. But since it's off the truck and I want to make sure I get all the way underneath those straps really well, I hide my seams underneath there. Actually, that was a really good comment there. Let me see if I can bring that back up. Cecilia Olson says green buff. Family Tradition says see it. Matt's. But the really good question here was, biggest problem was not having a line in the middle where the split is. overlap was. A big learning curve right away. Yeah, no, that's a huge thing. If you're seaming it in the middle, you're definitely going to have issues with that. You're going to have to cut across that the second time to get rid of your seam. As soon as you get that out into the sunlight, you're going to see that seam 100% if you don't get rid of that. Laid Back says, I love to see new products come out that enhance the quality. Hopefully it won't take long to produce the new wheel. Keep up the great work, Evan. One of my goals is to meet you one day in person. Dude, I love meeting all you guys. And Jason Olson, yeah. Give me a call sometime in the next couple days here, and I'll kind of break it down and explain to you a little bit of that green buff. Yeah, no, always looking forward to meeting everybody. Every time I'm at the shows, always meet 50 or 100 new people. Really enjoy that. It's cool to get to meet new people. But yeah, this new product hopefully should be coming out soon. We're hoping to see it soon, anyways. We'll see kind of how everything goes down. Preston Wagner says, price for the class. We charge $500 a day. That $500 a day does include all your products. You don't have to purchase any additional products. I do recommend everybody either bring a respirator or wear a respirator of some type, just for insurance purposes. This is a dangerous job and risky job. I usually buy everybody lunch every day during the class. But here, let me just zoom back in on this and show you guys what it looks like up close. So this is getting close to color here. Look close. You see a little bit of hash marks yet. Once some of that hash mark stuff starts drying out, it's going to start looking like that over there. These lights make it look terrible. But yeah, as you can see, the hash marks are really getting faint and light. By the time we go to final buff this, it'll be crazy clear, but the clarity's already there. We're getting close already. But we're going to, I'm going to have Ty help me rotate this thing here real soon. So I'm going to get back to finishing buffing this thing up, so I'm not here till midnight tonight. Stay tuned for another video coming soon. I'll do a video of a tank mounted on a truck. I know a lot of people don't have them pulled off, and I hate doing them when they're pulled off anyways. I can't believe you guys tuned in for 30 minutes, so maybe we'll start doing some more of these live videos and do a little longer videos. If you guys will really watch an hour-long video, I'll do one on how to show polish something at some point in time. So stay tuned to the channel for that. Wow, all the way from Cape Town. That's crazy. Appreciate you stopping by and watching. We got 29 people here while we're live. I think our peak was like 40 people at one point in time. So that's crazy. I can't believe how many people are watching this thing live, but that's awesome. YouTube's got some reach apparently. So thank you guys for stopping by. I'm gonna get back to this thing, and we'll see you guys again soon. Deuces.